All right, we're live here at the Permian Basin Oil Show, Pbios Live, sponsored by TD Williamson. Thank you guys. And guess who I have in studio right now? TD Williamson.
Yes, sir.
Introduce yourself.
Blake Knowles, TD Williamson Repair Solutions, U.S. Sales Manager for Repair Solutions.
And my name is Harold Lee. I am the technical support manager for the Petro Sleeve, so part of the Repair Solutions.
Okay. You know, this for me is always a story about the people in energy, and I want to hear everything about TD Williamson. But, how'd you get into oil and gas and energy?
So I started on the upstream side out of Lake Charles, Louisiana back in 2000, chasing drilling rigs, selling drill bits for a company called Smith International. Moved to Houston, stayed on the upstream side, selling drill bits, selling directional, and kind of migrated my way here over pretty recently. I'm 7 months into the midstream side, but so got going on the upstream side, now taking a chance at the midstream side.
It's fascinating, because, we all, move around a little bit every now and then in our careers, but I love breaking out of silos. I was on, the upstream, just that side for, ever. Now I'm like a little bit of everything. And it's like, wow, there's so much else that I didn't know.
No doubt. It's different.
Yeah. I love
there's
it.
a difference between the two. It's oil and gas when it's all said and done, but upstream, midstream, it's a different animal. So I'm still learning.
We love learning. I think that's our industry. How'd you get into TD Williamson? Where'd you start out?
Well, I guess if you're saying you want to try different things, I've been with the company. This is my 24th year. So
wow.
Went to school, materials engineering was kind of what I focused on. Needed a job, got a job, stuck with the same job. Started in the field a little bit, and I still know there's a lot that I still don't know. So to your point, that there's lots to learn still.
Any stepping stones, for the next generation that you're like, hey, I want to recommend doing this and trying this?
Well, I think what you're saying right there is you try and you get your hands dirty, and you don't start in the office. You want to start in the field, and you're going to learn a lot more that way.
You learn a lot from your mentors too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I was always somebody that's like, I see a successful person over here. I'm going to go see if I can pick their brain.
Sure.
Or a successful company. Like, man, I'd love to go work for them and see what I can learn out of them. So elevator pitch, 30,000 foot view, TD Williamson has grown quite a bit. What are you guys focused on right now? And, actually, I want to know a little bit of like past, present, and future about TD Williamson. What'd you guys grow on? What are you doing now that you're really excited about, and where you're going to be?
Well, so from a TD Williamson perspective, like Harold mentioned, he's been with the same company for 24 years, but that's been with a company that TDW just acquired back in December, Petroline. TDW picked them up in December. Again, the product Petro Sleeve, which we'll probably talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. I read a whole little paper on that.
Big push to take Petro Sleeve. It's really kind of been a Canadian-based product. It's migrated its way down into the U.S. over the last few years, just through word of mouth and whatnot. But, the big push hasn't quite been made yet. So, the rationale behind TDW picking up Petroline and really getting, the Petro Sleeve moving, on a global scale. So Harold, like I said, his experience and time with TDW, has been about the extent of mine, whenever they were purchased in December of 2024. Then myself, just coming over to TDW in February, tail end of February, it's really 1st of March, and it's just been, really pushing the Petro Sleeve here in the U.S. So, from a TDW perspective and the history of TDW and, the other things TDW does, you probably don't have the best two guys up here to give you the full TDW pitch.
See that? I've got a whole series now lined up for myself because of you two.
Yeah.
That's fun for me.
Yeah.
I kind of, I was like, and by the way, everybody from TD, come over, see me.
And again, if just a bit on TDW, right? Again, 100-year company, really kind of, I guess, built their name, from a hot tapping isolation side of things, Still, I would say pretty synonymous, when you mentioned, and, if you need to hot tap something, right, TDW is generally going to be, in that conversation, but, where else can they grow? And, they've made a few acquisitions over the years, and ultimately Petro Sleeve being one of the more recent ones. So
tell me all about this Petro Sleeve, because if I start explaining it, people are going to be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I would say also to add to some what you're saying about us being a new acquisition, the Petro Sleeve to TDW is it is somewhat synergistic, because a lot of what TDW does is to keep the pipeline product moving, and our repair is to fixes the pipeline on the outside, but really it allows the operator to keep the product moving, and they don't even know we're there. We just fix the pipeline, it's fixed, it's good to go forever, basically, once we're able to fix the pipeline. And how it works is 2 steel halves, and we heat them up really hot, and we catch them while they're hot, and then simply it just shrinks down tight on the pipe. And by doing that, it puts the pipe into a state where any defect in the pipeline can't fail anymore. It's really simple process, but super effective.
How are our pipelines doing across the United States? I mean, they're aging, right?
They're aging, no doubt.
We have not been able to throw a lot of resources into pipelines like we wish we could. And so there's a lot of maintenance required just to even on, the pipelines we do have resources for.
Yep.
So you guys are really critical national security infrastructure maintenance. I mean, that's what I think America does somehow, get complacent about, if you will.
Yeah, we're the good guys.
Yeah,
right?
you are the good guys.
Right?
And our complacency and lack of maintenance can really lead to our own national security and energy security catastrophes if we don't have technologies like yours out there continually looking for ways to innovate maintenance and bring very critical, vital, affordable ways to do that maintenance.
And I think, Harold mentioned, synergistic with what TDW does. I mean, that's essentially TDW's, whole portfolio, right? Is in a roundabout way, protecting the public, right? Kind of
it is 30,000 foot view when you stand
unsung
back.
hero of, these pipelines are getting older, right? But nobody wants to go without heat and all the things that come with energy.
I'm a little bougie. I like to, be comfortable, and I like the fact that energy and abundant energy has made my life really, really nice. And without, the maintenance on all of the heartbeat and the veins and the, bloodstream of our energy resources, it just can't happen.
Yep. Nobody wants new pipelines going through anywhere, right? I say nobody, a large part of the public.
If they were aware, I think they would.
100%, right? But with that though, right? It's how do we keep these older pipelines, running efficiently and safely, and that that's certainly where where we fit in. So it's a matter of repairing it, right? But also a lot of the tools that are being ran through these lines now to pick up various defects, that's getting better, right? That's another part of TDW's offering, is being able to pick up the defects and know that we've got issues. And then ultimately, once those are identified, right, the Petro Sleeve comes in and offers a very, economic, safe, reliable, permanent solution to repair a lot of the defects that are being found on these older lines now.
I like also, you can partner with a lot of other vendors out there. I mean, that could one of the, your sleeve could be another revenue stream for another company just by going, hey, on our, pricing and our quotes, we've added, Petro Sleeve on there as a, hey, would you like, we know of another, company that has this. You're our customer, pipeline A, B, C, D, midstream company, but we know of a product that you guys need.
Yeah, for sure.
Partnerships right now are just vital. To
different
all of us.
levels. From a contractor basis, right? The guys that are out there, putting various other repair methods on and whatnot.
All over the place.
because again, we bring, some things to the table, from a safety perspective. A lot of the repair methods out there now require welding on the actual operating pipe itself.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, we've all seen those videos.
Right. Where we don't. Right. So from a safety perspective, not having a weld on that pipe. So a lot of the contractors that are out there doing this work, there's various ways, and again, you kind of put parentheses around partnership. There's definitely some strategic alliances, that we're talking about, and how do we really get this product going? And I think there's lots of different ways we can do it.
All right. Tell me more.
And I'd say we found a little bit along the way too, is a lot of the people who have used the sleeve. It's simple to do. It's easy to have success with it. They become lots of our spokespersons too of how we can do this and maybe a better way than what maybe are some traditional methods that are more complicated and difficult to repair pipelines. We just want to be another tool in the toolbox, but we'll want to make sure that we're effective and simple to install. And that's what you're going to find with a lot of the crews. We've done some demos just to show how the sleeve works, and we would take brand new people on it to demo it. Instead of taking like super experienced, they've done thousands and thousands of them. We just said, well, we're going to train somebody brand new and show you how easy it is to do this. And
Isn't that great? I love that.
And that's kind of one of the focuses is being able to do it in all scenarios.
Yeah, sometimes almost a little too simple, right? You think that, where's the catch, right? And that's the cool thing about Petro Sleeve is there's no catch, right? It's simple, it's fast, it's permanent, and it works. You put that carrier pipe under compression, right? You're alleviating the hoop stress off the operating pipe, and that defect that we're going on top of, it's not going anywhere, right? And so it's easy.
So there's other pipelines out there made of other materials. I mean, there's so many innovations right now. Where do you guys want to innovate? I mean, do you see any changes in the future of what you're doing? What you might be able to do with this, technology or equipment, apparatus, however you want to, name it.
Well, I think, from a Petro Sleeve perspective, it's a steel on steel, repair, right? The way the compression works, being able to heat it and whatnot, right? So that particular product, is going to ultimately be a steel on steel. Now, is there a market out there, as for stainless, there's different sorts of steel that we may need to match material with, but ultimately,
I just want you to be available for everybody.
Petro Sleeve will be steel on steel, but within the repair solutions portfolio, composite wraps or another repair method. We have a composite wrap that we really haven't, as TDW hasn't pushed in North America, or I say Western
push
Hemisphere.
Everything you guys have.
Yeah. So there's discussions underneath the repair solution, because everything has its place, right? We feel Petro Sleeve checks a lot of boxes, right? But there's always a time and place where that box may not be checked for different reasons, and a composite may be, a better solution, right? Same thing with a type B sleeve, where you do have to weld to the operating pipe, but sometimes, right, you need a type B sleeve for certain defects. And so that's kind of the, I guess the long-term vision of TDW and Repair Solutions, to be able to offer, right, various solutions to check the box that needs to be checked, at the right time.
Give me more. All right, tell me more.
I would point towards a little bit more about the effectiveness of the sleeve itself. We've installed over 60,000 of these around the world.
That's what I was hoping that you would get to. So they've gone global now.
2 inches to say 48 inches in diameter. It doesn't matter what's in the pipeline. We've never had one fail. So anytime you get a good install of the sleeve on the pipeline, it's permanent. It means that you never got to come back. So
it's probably better than the original now too. You don't have to worry about that area.
I kind of think of it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say that necessarily, but yeah, it pretty much is. And that one of those things that we did was we took a page out of the Code of Federal Regulations, which says you want to permanently restore the serviceability of the pipeline, which essentially we took it as you want to make the pipeline as good as it was originally or better.
Yep.
And so when we get our sleeve on there, that's what you're going to have, is something as good as the pipeline originally was, or really better than it was when it started.
Well, I don't want to keep you. I know you guys have a ton of. They're here at the show, the Permian Basin. You got to come see them. They've got a really good company. Man, speaking of which, how many people is the company employ now? Do you know, just off the top of your head?
TDW
Yeah.
globally?
Yeah,
Oof.
it's gotten big,
1,500?
right?
Is it that many?
I think about close to 1,500.
See, I mean, that's impressive numbers,
Yep.
and you're growing.
Sure.
That's, I mean, we're all constantly talking about the next generation. You're young, but you're already stepping into leadership roles, and you're going to attract the next generation, we hope, and teach people that, hey, no matter what career path you could possibly see yourself in the future, we probably have a place for you in oil and gas, and look at the, technology and the science and all the things that, this company alone has available for interested minds.
Sure.
It's just, I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, we had interest to innovate too. So
Innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring them problems. They have the teams that will get, a solution to you.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you guys for doing this.
No,
with
we
me.
appreciate it.
Very
We
much
appreciate it,
appreciate the opportunity to meet you. Hopefully we can collaborate on a lot of stuff. Anytime you guys, come be my co-host in here. If you find somebody interesting, bring him over. Let's interview him together.
Yeah.
How about that?
All right.
All
We'll
right.
do that.
All right. Well, they're a series now. TD Williamson, the series, by anybody that wants to come grab them for your own interview. I'll let you all out of here.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.